Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you for being with me again today. Well, see, India is moving. It's not a static country. It acts on its own. It's a civilizing country. It's a country with attitude. Seems to be independent, and I think it is, and doesn't follow orders, as we noted that when the Americans were trying to make India um, refuse to buy, to make India refuse to buy Russian oil or gas. And India said, well, we have our own interests and we got to do it. So bye-bye. So then, as I stated, the Western mass media is trying to do some foment some problems in India, and they try to, um, you know, bring up some abuses occurring, religious abuses occurring in India, allegedly and reported by some Western mass media. So I don't know if we're going to try to do the same thing that happened in Pakistan with Imran Khan, who was voted out because he tried the same thing as Indian counterpart tried, which is be independent, and then he was replaced with Sharif, a guy who's not really kosher. But nevertheless, if he follows orders, who cares, right? So this article comes from Bloomberg because India is doing its own thing. From today, June 6, 2022, and this is the title: India in talks to increase Russian oil imports from Rosneft. So India talks to Rosneft to increase oil imports. I wonder who's going to sanction India. Anybody? And why not? India is looking to double down on its Russian oil imports, with state-owned refineries eager to take more heavily discounted supplies from both Rosneft, as international players turn down dealings with Moscow over its invasion in Ukraine. Good. More for us. Bring it on. State processors are collectively working on finalizing and securing new 6-month supply contracts with Russian crude to India, said people with knowledge of the country's procurement plans. Cargoes are being sought on a delivered basis from Rosneft, with the seller set to handle shipping and insurance matters, they said. This supply agreement, if concluded, will be separate and on top of shipments that India already buys from Russia via other deals. Details on volume and pricing are still being negotiated, with Indian banks set to fully finance all cargoes, said the people who asked not to be identified. Don't identify me, as discussions are confidential. Indian refineries will increasingly procuring directly from Russian companies such as Rosneft, as top international traders such as Glencore plc wind up their dealings, they added. State refiners included Indian Oil Corporation, Hindustan Petroleum, and Bharat Petroleum, while private processors are Reliance Industries and Nayara Energy, which is partly owned by Rosneft. Hmm. So yeah, get some more. It says here the European Union have caused most buyers to flee and offer levels to crash. An unprecedented amount of Russian crude was heading to India and China last month as European buyers shot themselves in the foot. They had to scrambled for replacement and reached as far as United Arab Emirates for alternatives because they morally superior. Their countries, their leaders, not the companies. The companies did not give up about that, I guarantee you. They would have continued to buy oil and gas from the Russia forever. Money, profit. They are in business over there to make money, not to look good and moral and virtuous, but whatever. The ensuring panic and rerouting of global oil flows have lifted oil by more than 20% since late February when Russia invaded Ukraine. refineries in Asia, second largest oil consumer, have been enjoying elevated profits from turning cheap crude into fuels that's sold domestically and also in the export market to customers in Europe and in the US. So they get the Russian crude, they refine it, sell it back to the guys that impose sanctions on them with a higher price, and they make a profit. The Russians make a profit, the Indians make a profit, and the Europeans pay more. Great. I mean, I like that. If I would be an oil producing company or distributing company. So Russian crude forms just part of India's overall basket of crude oil feedstock, alongside with long-term as well as spot purchases from the Middle East and Africa. So they buy for more than that. That's good. So we have here the potential ramp-up of Russian crude purchases will likely weigh on the South Asian nation spot imports, said the people. Said the people. I know who the people are. Okay, the people. India has bought more than 40 million barrels of Russian oil between late February and early May, which comes to about 20% more than flows for all of 2021. So see, India has bought more than 40 million barrels of Russian oil between late February and early May, which come to about 20% more than the flows from all of 2021, according to Bloomberg's calculation based on trade data. Russian oil arrivals in India for May were at 740,000 barrels a day, up from 284,000 barrels in April, and 34,000 barrels a year earlier, according to data from Kepler. Well, good. And Europe is going to pay more. That's what's going to be, it seems like. Discounted Russian oil has provided some relief to India, which imports more than 85% of its oil dependent 100%, just as inflation skyrockets alongside surging prices of everything from food to fuel. The access to cheap crude is already boosting India's oil imports, which grew almost 16% in April from last year. The share of oil from the Eurasian region, which includes Russia, extended to 10.6% in April versus 3.3% a year earlier, according to ministry data. Well, good. You have oil, you're expanding. Cheaper oil, refine it, sell it at a higher price to those smart people in Europe, and we don't care over there. Because the people, the citizens will pay, the companies will, I don't know what they're going to do, but nevertheless. Anyway, Shell said it has profits, BP had big profits, so I'm not crying those guys. I'm crying for the regular people who go and vote for their leaders who make decisions in their names, representing them over there, and then that affects them greatly to the pump, and not only their lifestyle, the standard of living decreases. Why? Because of Ukraine and Russia. Okay, well, pay more. We're going to pay more. Think about those guys, the leaders. They have money. They don't have our incomes, obviously. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.